over in San Francisco at the CSBA over there. She is a consummate teacher. She is incredible, I'll tell you. Thank you so much for everything you've given to this district, and not just to this district, kids as well. Those of you know that I was a board member in Lincoln Unified as well. Actually, we had to go up in front of her once there. Did not get the vote I wanted either, but that's it. But thank you so much for everything you've done for our kids.
Thank you, Mr. Neely. Mr. Heavily?
Yes. Congratulations on your award. Obviously, you have a deep passion for kids, and that is always wonderful to see. So again, thank you for the work you do in our district, and not just our district, but Lincoln Unified and the community. Thank you very much. Great job.
Mr. Tolkien?
I want to thank you very much for 32 years of very hard work. The kids, I know, have appreciated it. Thank you.
Mr. Womack?
And how I consider you a friend. And I've been in your classroom and several times and watched you in action. So I can tell you firsthand, she's an awesome teacher and well deserving of the award. Congratulations.
And how we go back 8 years when she first got elected to the Lincoln board, San Diego, December 3rd, and 8 years ago. And we got to know each other there briefly. And I know that she's done an outstanding job at Lincoln Unified. I'm very impressed with those little free little libraries that you put all over the place. Actually, we're starting one in our neighborhood, and I'm going to have to talk to you about those, see how that goes. Okay, congratulations, Van Howen. I know we're going to see you again. 32 years is great. You need to go about another 8 years, okay? Thank you very much.
I am turned out.
Oh, yeah.
I look forward to my private life. So. I just want to update on the little free libraries. I started with 25, but today we have 50, and the record donated us 25. So we have 75. Our goal is to have 100 little free libraries across the community.
Very nice.
Ms. Castle?
Van Hock, thank you so much, and for giving us that update. That's just terrific. We are very appreciative of your service for us. We're so proud of you, and also for your service to Lincoln Unified. Thank you and congratulations. Stop by Wagner Hall, please visit our little free library. You'll see what it looks like. It's the work of our students in the school too. Our student council, they help me paint it, and also some students designed the pictures that we have on the box. So it's a school project.
And I'd like to echo the board's comments and congratulations on this most deserving award. And Nancy from American Literacy Corporation, thank you so much for recognizing one of our best. And Dorothy, thank you for the chapter for inspiring her. And congratulations, very well deserved. So, way to go. Mr. Womack, would you join me at the podium, please? Tonight is Mr. Womack's last board meeting, and as a board member. And for his service and guidance as a trustee and past president, this board is extremely grateful. It's no secret with Ralph, what you see is what you get. He is the calm voice of reason in many heated debates. He has a unique skill of summarizing complex issues and dissecting them to their core values. He's a dedicated champion of our district, and he spends several hours every week on our campuses encouraging our kids. Throughout our careers, whether I worked for him or he's worked for me, I've always learned more from him than I think I've taught him. and learned so much about being a leader, a thinker, and a colleague. I always felt the greatest compliment you could pay someone is that they've changed people's lives. Ralph has changed the lives of so many of our students for the better. And for that, this board offers its highest admiration, appreciation, and recognition. So I present you with this here tonight. Ralph Womack, Lodi Unified School Board District Board of Education, 2011 to 16. In honor of your service to education, by words and deeds, your presence has enriched the lives of students and served as an example for all. Mr. Womack. I think before you say something, the board actually has some comments for you. So, Mr. Neely.
Thank you, Mr. Fritz. It was 5 years ago this month that I nominated Ralph for the board. When I saw his name and read his credentials, it said he's a retired police captain. My brother happens to be the retired chief of police, so I went and checked him out. And I tell you what, my brother had nothing but great things to say about you. And at this point, I don't have anything but great things to say about you as well. I nominated you 5 years ago, and I have never regretted that. You've given so much to this school district. I don't know if you guys are aware of it. Have you seen those huge board packets we get? Ralph reads everything. He reads every bit of it, every time we have a meeting. He goes to schools. He's always prepared for discussion. And the thing that I really liked about having Ralph on the board, I'm really mad about him for leaving, is that he brings a perspective of the public and another view to the school board. You know, those of us in education, we don't have all the answers. If we did, there wouldn't be any more problems. But we need people to come in with experience like Ralph, working with gangs in Stockton and Lodi, working with our kids. He's brought a tremendous amount of experience. And Ralph, I'm really going to miss you on this board, buddy. It's going to be different. So I've been with you for 5 years now, and I wish you all the best.
Mr. Talton.
Ralph, I want to echo everything Mr. Neely has said, but I also want to pay attention to the fact 2 years ago when I came onto this board, I said, there's Ralph, the police officer. I'm safe being on the board. Thank you, Ralph, for your help.
Thank you. Mr. Everett.
Thank you for your service, Ralph. You know, one of those things that we try to teach our children, and we try to, I guess, copy people who have a lifetime of service. And you're definitely one of those people. And there's no way that you're going to stop doing what you're doing for the community. And that's not only just the students, but, you know, Joyce made reference to the work that you do with the gangs in the region and trying to break that cycle. And just that, George said, perspective. The perspective that you bring is quite invaluable. And so I want to thank you for that. And I know your service is going to go from one thing to the other. So we're already talking about, what was that run you have coming up on Thanksgiving? Yeah. So I'll give a plug for it. It's just another example of your dedicated service to the communities. So thank you for that.
Ralph, I'm going to miss you driving every other week to these board meetings. We have discussed every single thing in the world about youngsters, mainly because we care for them. Ralph's not finished with children. He actually reads every Friday over at Creekside, and he's not going to stop that because I told him, he told me he's not going to stop that. And it has a load with a lot of the at-risk young people in North Stockton, Lodi, Lockford, that he does wonders with them. He gets great results with them, and it takes a special person to do that kind of work. I wouldn't be able to do it because I don't have the experience that he has doing all those things. I will miss you, Ralph, the last 4 years that we've been representing North Stockton. We've been to the Hmong New Year together. We've been to other functions together in Sacramento with families and all these kinds of things. And I'm going to miss that. I know that we'll still be in touch, and good thing. Thank you, Ralph, for all your work.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Ms. Castle?
Simply put, Ralph Womack is a terrifically good board member. If we were giving report cards for board members, he would get an A+++. He has, 5 years ago, I had never met Ralph before, and here's what I know at this time. All the things that he's done with his life up until serving on the board, I would characterize as giving back to the community in so many ways. And now as a board member, he's done exactly the same thing for us. Ralph and I, this past Thursday, early morning, attended Sutherland Elementary School flag folding ceremony. And it occurred to me, sadly, at that time, that that would be the last event that I would attend with Ralph as my board colleague. But it was very fitting that we were at Sutherland, and we were out on the blacktop. It was about 8:30, and every child at Sutherland was out there, and they were actively participating because each child had either a red, white, or blue piece of paper, and they had become the living flag. And it was so appropriate that we were watching that, because those children, as you all know in this audience, Sutherland is one of 29 Title I schools that we have in this district. As a matter of fact, they're on, all 29 of the schools are on the agenda today. And as a history geek, I know, and I know you know this as well, that they're the very population, as we stood there and watched those kids put everything they had in their hearts into forming the human flag. They're the very kids that historically were overlooked, always. That doesn't happen anymore. It hasn't happened here for a long time. But I have to say this about Ralph. This board, I am very proud of the fact that we have brought about these intervention programs for children, especially like the Sutherland kids. And Ralph has been a fierce advocate for those programs. So as we looked at all those kids, and I know Ralph probably thought I was so sappy as we were walking away from the ceremony, I said to him, there's your legacy. Because every one of those kids that is not reading at grade level, we have guaranteed that we'll put an intervention in place for them so that they will read at grade level and therefore have a much better chance at life. So Ralph, I can just say that you will be greatly missed. He is a wonderful help as we set about doing all our decision making. He is measured, he is fair, he is honest, and it comes from his heart. And then I just want to throw out one more thing to you that you might not know about Ralph, and I enjoy learning this about him. He's an athlete. He's out there running every morning about 5 a.m. And when he and Marie, his wonderful wife, go on vacation, he runs up and down mountains, in through canyons, and all over a desert, wherever they're going, he's still out there running. So he is a fine, fine person. He has given his entire life to help other people. And I count myself as very blessed having known him and served with him on this board. And I will miss you, Ralph. And please keep in touch. And thank you.
Mr. Womack.
Hard to follow that. I'm humbled by all of your comments, and I really do appreciate it. It's been amazing. 5 years in some respects seem to have gone quite quickly. And yet, when you look back on it, there's a lot that we've accomplished. And I recall coming on the board, and we had before us trying to figure out this thing called LCFF. And we didn't know what we were doing, but we had to figure that out. And then we had to come up with the first LCAP. and there was no template for it. I remember us trying to put something together without a template. We got through all of that. And interventions, they were only available in Read 180, for example, was available in the Title I schools. But this board said that needs to be in every one of our schools. And we did it. So I'm very, very proud to have been a part of this board. My colleagues, I respect you all very much. As far as myself, some people ask, why are you leaving the board? And I tell you, it was not an easy decision, but I am a decisive person. Once I decide, I decide. And Joe can tell you, we had those conversations driving back and forth to the board meetings. And I said, I just have to divest something from my plate. Between working 3 days, which sometimes turns into 5 days, working with some of these at-risk youth that I work with, it's very, very demanding, but it's very, very gratifying as well. And then I'm on the board with the food bank and running against hunger and the school board. And I thought, when I hit my 68th birthday, I thought, where do I want to be in 4 years? And I said, I don't want to be doing all of the same stuff I'm doing right now. Something had to go. So honestly, I just asked one particular question of myself. Where could I be the most effective? Could I be most effective at the policy level or more effective one-on-one with these kids? So that's why I made the decision to stay with the program I'm working with the DA's office. I work every day one-on-one with these youth, and it makes a difference in their lives. So thank you for all the kind words and everything else. I won't go away. I'll watch the agendas and stuff, and if I feel like something isn't being done right, I'll come up with a card. I'm sure you will. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Dr. Washer.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I'd like to thank our community for supporting Measure U and helping us with our efforts to improve our facilities, to make them safe learning environments for students, up-to-date facilities, and take care of some much-needed repairs that we need to do for our children and for our staff. I do want to recognize our board president, Mr. Ron Freitas, for chairing that effort, doing an incredible job in a very short amount of time. So we thank you very much, Mr. Freitas, for stopping the rest of your world for those few months and putting all of your effort into helping this pass. We are going to be starting to talk to you about what happens next, and there are some items on the agenda that pertain to that passing of the bond. You'll see there's an agenda item to start an RFQ, request for qualifications for architects. We're going to be talking to you in the future about priorities from the facilities master plan, do a little review on that. There are some legal documents that need to be taken care of. We also will be forming our Citizens Oversight Committee and bringing you those recommendations. So you'll start seeing things on agendas that have to do with this effort. And it's something that we very much look forward to for the next several years. I want to let you know that Don Benek and I took a visit to the Discovery Challenge Academy, and thank you, Mr. Womack, for pointing us in that direction. If you get a chance after January, after this academy opens, I suggest that you go take a look. It's over at Sharp Depot. It's a partnership between the National Guard and the county office, and they are creating a temporary housing, temporary live-in facility for at-risk students who are not making it in the regular school system, who need credits, who need a little boost with encouragement and mentorship and behavior to support them, to put them on the right path. And the goal is education. The goal is not military-based, it is education-based. And their desire is that students then return to their high schools to finish out their senior year. So it's a temporary voluntary assignment. So if you get a chance after it opens in January, I would encourage you to go take a look. It is an incredible facility. And I understand that we have one student with an application in at this point. Hopefully we'll have more. I do also, on behalf of staff, want to thank and recognize Mr. Womack for his service on the board. I remember that when he first got on the board, he started talking about wraparound services. And that wasn't a term that we used very often. And he kept putting that term at the forefront, that we need to consider wraparound services for students, that their success in school isn't just academic, that there are many other things that impact students' success, behavior, achievement at school, and we need to find ways to address those root causes that are hindering students from learning. So Mr. Womack, thank you for putting that at the forefront. Thank you for making that a priority for this district. I think that we've come a long way since you've been on the board and moving in that direction. One program in particular that I think you should take credit for is the SAFE program. And if you don't know what that is, for our folks out in the audience, that's an effort out in our Stockton schools to help not only students but families deal with issues that may hinder their success at school. And that support system is in place, Mr. Womack, because of you. So thank you for that. Students at Creekside, the young students at Creekside are learning to love reading and enjoying reading because of you. And I know that they look forward to seeing you when you come and you bring joy. So thank you for that. I want to thank you for challenging us, encouraging us, and inspiring us to be better. Your legacy has changed lives, and I don't think you can get any better than that. I appreciate your mentorship, the role model that you set for all of us. You will be missed.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Washington. Next on the agenda, moving through it, we now have the public hearing. I now declare open the Rio Valley Charter School material revisions to charter school petition. Now declare the public hearing to be open. Right? Any comments from the board? Comments from the public? Comments from Rio Valley Charter?
Good evening, Mr. President. I would like to thank Dr. Washer and the Board of Trustees for allowing me to speak on behalf of a material revision for the Rio Valley Charter School charter petition. My name is Paul Kiefer. I'm the Executive Director for Pacific Charter Institute, and Rio Valley is one of our 4 schools. And with that, I provided you with additional information about the material revision, including some specifics about the 2 resource centers that we're hoping to put under Rio Valley Charter School and also under Lodi Unified School District. And I will be happy to work with staff over the next month to offer any answers that are that due to questions, and also be present if there are any questions from the Board of Trustees. So thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Kiefer. Any other comments from the public? We will now close the public session. Comments from the public. The board has set aside a 20-minute time period for the public to address the board on items not listed on the agenda. Each public speaker shall limit his or her comments to 3 minutes, but is welcome to distribute any materials to the board and/or staff. Due to restrictions imposed by the California Brown Act regarding discussing topics that are not on the agenda, board members may not engage in dialogue about the issue. We have a couple cards already filled out. Karen Miranda? Mindy? Minnie. Mindy. Very good. How are you?
Hi.
Welcome.
My name is Karen Minnick, and I'm the Bear Creek High School speech and debate coach. First of all, I'd like to invite you and the audience and members of community to come to our campus this Saturday. We're having a speech and debate tournament. It's a speech-only tournament, so we will only have 12 of the different speaking events showcased. We begin at 7:30 in the library, but of course, you're all welcome anytime you can make it, and yes, we'll feed you. but that's not really what I'm here to talk about, besides a shameless plug for my program. I would like to remind you that nothing happens in this district without an inordinate amount of paperwork, the likes of which would take me the amount of time this whole meeting to describe. And as this is my 18th year coaching, I can attest that this corresponding paperwork has increased annually for the exact same services, such as accessing student accounts, fundraisers, and transportation. But I'm not here to complain about my position. Teachers like myself willingly take on this extra workload for our students. However, the lack of respect and support we receive in return is non-existent. From the lack of credentialed teachers in the classroom, not enough classroom substitutes or bus drivers, to flat out statements and contract negotiations that, quote, "we're not interested at this time," end quote. Regardless of the reason or bargaining technique argued, the bottom line remains the same. The district continues to exploit our dedication to our students because you believe that when push comes to shove, we will do what's in the best interest of our students, regardless of how poorly we are treated by you in return. This may not always be the case. Teachers are on the front lines. We are the examples of how to treat people in our classroom. If we treated our students like you treat teachers, we'd all be out on the streets. The time has passed for the rhetoric of gratitude. Now is the time to act and show both the teachers and the communities that we work in that you truly support and appreciate us. Those actions begin by creating a fair contract that will attract, support, and retain high-quality teachers that you have seen this evening. Hope to see you all on Saturday. Thank you very much for your time.
Very good. Thank you, Karen. Dave Hurley. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you, Ron. Dave Hurley, sixth grade teacher, Sutherland Elementary. First off, congratulations, Mr. Womack. Thank you for everything you've done for our students in the district. Dr. Washer, members of the Board of Trustees, first off, congratulations on the passing of Measure U. I think our community has displayed faith in the educational product that is offered within our district. But I want to talk a little bit about facilities. And when I was a very naive principal 26 years ago, I sat on a committee for a brand new track and soccer complex at Lincoln High School. We had lots of money, and we were going to build a state-of-the-art facility, all-weather track. And a wise coach, well-respected teacher, Tom Galvin, told me, "Dave, it's not the facilities that make the school, it's the people inside it. New facilities are nice, but it's the people that make the difference." Nothing has changed in the last 25 years that would allow me to change my mind based on what he told me. And now that the community has shown faith in the district, I think it's time for the district to show faith in our teachers. I looked at the LCAP report that's going to be presented later on by Ms. Katowski, and there was a disturbing trend in there. We had 130-something teachers leave the district last year, either retirement or leaving, which was about 54.
Mr. Hurley?
Yeah.
Can't discuss the public comment items that are on the agenda. The LCAP is on the agenda. Sir.
Okay. Well, I can talk about the fact that there are 54 teachers more that left the district last year than the previous year. So we're clearly, whether it's retirements or not, we're not retaining our employees for whatever reason. And our stalled negotiations have led to a lack of trust, which erodes our #1 goal, and that is educating our students. I'd just like to change course here on another note. Due to the alarming uptick in the number of racial incidents regarding intolerance that have taken place on school campuses throughout the United States and even in our state, I really urge our district to get in front of this issue and to assure our parents and students that no act of intolerance will be dealt with severely in our districts. I know that we have our policy, but I think it's imperative that we come out with a statement that's read to our students, our parents, and our community to let them know that they're going to be safe when they come to school and nothing will be allowed that will affect their rights on education. So I hope that we're able to do that as a district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Early. Any other comments from the public? Moving on, consent agenda A, action items, routine business. Do any board members wish for any of the consent items to be pulled from the agenda? Does any members of the public wish any of the items to be pulled from the agenda? Mr. Womack, a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Womack, for your motion. Thank you, Mr. Nava, for your second. Student vote? Aye. Very good. Call for the board vote. And motion carries 7-0. Consent agenda B, student discipline cases. Mr. Womack?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Womack, for your motion. Thank you, Mr. Nava, for your second. Students do not vote on student discipline cases. Call for the board vote. Motion carries 7-0. Other action items. We have our annual audit report ending June 30th, 2016. Mr. Hearn.
Thank you, President Freitas and members of the board. We are here with our controller and our auditors to present the annual audit.
Welcome. Hi, Maria.
Hi. Good evening, Mr. President, Dr. Washer, and members of the board. Peggy Van the principal from Gilbert Campus, is going to go ahead and give a quick overview of the audit report. The audit report was gone in depth with the audit committee on November 4th, and we went to every sort of detail, and we're just going to give a quick overview, and then Peggy will answer any other question you have regarding the report. Thank you. Ms. Peggy.
Good evening, Dr. Washer, Dr. Hearn, and board members. As Maria mentioned, we met with the audit committee back on November 4th and went through the audit report in grave detail, so I'm not going to force you to go through that tonight. But we did provide you with an executive summary that kind of gives you an overview of the financial statements. So tonight, what you have in front of you is the June 30, 2016 financial statement audit. And in addition, it also includes the compliance work that we're engaged to do on behalf of the district for state compliance and federal compliance. As you probably noticed in the executive summary, we had no findings, which is, for a district this size, it's a great accomplishment. So I commend you and everybody on your team. We do spend quite a bit of time out at the different school sites and working with different program staff for both federal and state funding. And from what we find and see, everybody's very responsive and provides us with all the documentation we request, which is quite a bit. And we have had no findings. Additionally, what you probably noted in the audit report, in which we brought to the audit committee's attention, was that the financial statements had no audit adjustments. The information that's presented in the financial statements is consistent with the unaudited actuals that were brought to you back in September. Just an overview of the financial statements. It does include information that is on more of a consolidated basis, full accrual, that's different from your budgetary and fund basis. It does bring in information such as the CalPERS and CalSTRS pension liabilities. This year, the liability for the district is $231 million for net pension liabilities. That fluctuates from year to year based on the estimates that are provided by CalPERS and CalSTRS actuaries. I know that you've had an opportunity to look at the report in advance and go through the executive summary. If you have any questions, I'm here tonight to answer those. And that's all I have for you tonight.
Very good.
Questions?
All right. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Comments from the board?
I just say that I'm part of that audit committee and appreciate the time and effort that staff put into that and the auditors. My understanding is we're like ahead of the curve. We're ahead of a lot of other districts as far as getting that done and getting.
You are our first district out, yes.
One out there. So thanks to everybody for that. Very good report. We've done things properly, and that's always a good thing.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Womack. Mr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Chris. Again, congratulations. You guys are awesome. No findings. That's unbelievable when you're dealing with this kind of budget and these kinds of regulations. To be able to come through clean, it's amazing. So thank you guys very much. It's so much nicer to get these reports than have to ask a couple of questions. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Neely. Mr. Haverly?
Thank you. I too am on the annual audit review committee. And unfortunately, when you see it in public, it's either really brief, or if you're trying to look at it online, it's very difficult to make sense of it. But we do spend time going over with our auditors, and it is a two-way conversation, so that as things come up, we can ask the questions, clarifying questions that we need. So it's a lot easier because some of us have already gotten the information. It's very different than from what the public may look at us as like, well, is the whole audit no questions? Well, we've already had those through our subcommittee. And it is actually very interesting. There's a lot of good information in there. And it tells you, because of a lot of law changes, we now have to include the pension liabilities and all those other things that are now in it. But you have to say it, but then you can back some of it out. And it's just very confusing, but it's really nice and beneficial to actually have someone across the table and say, well, here's what the law says. That's why we put it in. So it is not just a brief gloss over of the audit. We've already looked at this, and again, great job. We do know where the money is. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Everly. Ms. Castle?
Peggy and Maria, thank you. The very word audit could strike terror in our hearts, but it never does. I've been here for 10 years on this board. Sometimes you have a finding, but we take care of it. This year, there's no finding. We are a huge district. So I just want to say thank you, Mr. Hearn, Dr. Washer, Maria. I mean, all of the people that work on this, it's very comforting to know that an audit is nothing to fear in this district because we do so well. And Peggy, thank you. Thank you for bringing us this information.
Oh, you're welcome. It's your team that does all the work.
I just want to tell you that I read the whole 80 pages. And it was well written, no misspelled words. Thank you very much.
Very good. I would echo my board members' comments, Peggy, Maria. As Dr. Washer alluded to, the last 2 months I spent quite a bit of time talking to the community. And one of the reasons they had faith in Measure U was because they had faith in what our district did and the way we responded to audits and the way we took on these challenges. And you just reaffirmed what we do is we hold ourselves accountable. We're very frugal with the money and we use it appropriately. And seeing this confirmation, it's like going to the dentist. I mean, people become apprehensive, but boy, it's sure nice to have that clean bill of health. So thank you very, very much, because without this, I don't think we would be looking at the bright future that we're going to be looking at. So thank you. Comments from the public? All right.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve this audit report.
I don't think I was ready for a motion, Mr. Nava.
Oh, wait.
I think Mr. Womack had something to say.
That's right.
I'm set up.
He set up for the name of
Yeah,
the all
motion to
of
approve.
Thank you, Mr. Womack, for that motion. Thank you, anybody but Mr. Nava for the second. Mr. Neely for the second. Student vote?
Aye.
Thank you, students. Call for the board vote. Motion carries 7-0. The audit is approved. Thank you so very, very much. Personnel matters. Mr. McKilligan?
Would Mr. Womack like to do the honors tonight?
Move to approve.
Well, we got to hear it, Mr. McKilligan. It's not a motion without with the intro.
Mr. President, routine personnel matters are presented for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Womack. Thank you for your work. Thank you, Mr. Everly, for your second. Students now vote on personnel matters. Call for the board vote. And it carries 7-0. You have to take my word for it, even though we're on. There it is. All right. Very good. Comments from our student representatives. Who's going first? Do we flip a coin? Okay. Welcome, Ms. LeBaron. How are things over at Lodi High?
Things are doing well. I'd first like to thank Mr. Womack again for being on this board and having a great influence. I know I've only been here for a short time, but your positive attitude has greatly affected my experiences so far. So from Lodi High, we have a lot going on. I want to start with something that our school has put on, the Kids Canned Food Drive. We've had this going on for the past, 2 or 3 weeks at our school. Our results are still coming in, so I can't give you the total number, but I know at least from one club at school, CSF, we have raised 900 cans for that single club, so that alone is great, and that's going to be tripled hopefully by the time that all the cans are counted. On behalf of student government, we had a very successful event, the Haunted House, over the Halloween time. We raised around $1,300 for our student government, so that is actually record-breaking for our Haunted House, which is awesome because we worked really hard on it, and it's just such a great event for the students to get involved in, gives them something to do and get excited about on campus during that week. We also have a movie night scheduled in the future around December, where we're going to play a Christmas movie and just have a good time and create another event for our students to take part in. We're also working on a Winter Wonderland event to get into the holiday spirits right before break, so we're still kind of figuring that out, but hopefully that will be applied. Also, we are working on our Creative Lights floats, which we're very excited about. The theme is through children's eyes. And so we're doing through a teenager's eyes, and we're hoping to kind of bring in more technology and teenagers, while also making sure that we're pointing out for those teenagers who don't have what we have, that how we can help represent them as well. We have had some very great successes in Lodi High so far. In our ag department, we had Hallie Laughlin took place in the 89th annual FFA convention as a finalist for the Ag Proficiency Award in Plant System. She was one of 4 finalists, which is very, very prestigious, and that was really exciting for our school. We also had Sophie Wiesman and Caitlin Ramos placed 5th in Agri-Science, so also great prestigious awards for our school. For sports, girls water polo varsity made it pretty far. We made it to the section semifinals, which is a pretty big deal for us. We wanted to make sections so bad, but we still did pretty well. Also, cross country did very well in their season. The boys, I believe, finished first in league, so that was pretty exciting. And then winter sports are in full motion now, so we're getting ready for those. Academically, we had a record-breaking number of PSAT takers, which was 350, which is very exciting because it shows that our students are getting excited and trying to get used to taking that exam so they can be ready for college-based exams. We also had 200 students with more than one semester of GPA of a 3.8, which is our Block L awards. We had our ceremony. I know Mrs. Castle was there, so that was very exciting for us. Speech and debate is doing very well. They recently participated in a UOP tournament where they had 49 teams from California and Oregon, and 14 members of our speech and debate team entered, 7 made it to the top 6, so that's also very prestigious and exciting for our students. We had our Channel 31 Good Day Sacramento came to our rally before the Tokay Lodi game. Unfortunately, lost the game, but it was still a very exciting rally. It was a morning rally, so student government was there at 6 a.m. getting ready, and it was a very fun event. We had lots of fun getting students there and playing games and that kind of thing. And then that pretty much sums up what's going on at Lodi High. So lots of very exciting stuff coming. So thank you.
Mr. Nava.
Yes, very full report. I want to congratulate your water polo girls team. What a feat for that. That's a very good job. And all the fundraisers that you have, that you raised $1,300, is that for charity?
No, that's just for our student government fund right now, because we're to just put on more events in the future.
Very good. Thank you. You covered everything real well. Thank you.
Very nice job. Right. Mr. Stallworth,
Thank you.
how are things at McCare?
Things are going well. Thank you, Mr. President and Mr. Womack. I just want to congratulate and thank you for your service as being a board member. So for our HOSA program, we are having a blood drive on Friday, December 2nd, and it will have a Disney theme. For student government, we just sold out for our senior trip to Disneyland, so we're really excited for that. And some events coming up, we have Winter Formal on Saturday, December 17th at McNair. And our academic celebration of Eagles Assembly will be on Thursday, November 17th at 10 a.m. You guys are all invited. It will be in our gym. We have college visits. Those are ongoing, and seniors are currently applying to all of our colleges, and the applications are due by the end of November. For sports, McNair took second place in the SJAA League, and we had our football game last week against Bear Creek, and it was a great game. All of the teams, both of the teams played well, and we actually went to playoffs, but unfortunately we lost, so it's okay. For winter sports, they had started on November 7th, and our boys water polo team, they made history by making it to the playoffs again, but unfortunately we lost to Downey in the first round of playoffs. And McNair High, we're continuing with our WASP process. So we have our visit on February 2017, and last visit we were accredited for a 6-year program, so we're looking forward to seeing what they'll give us for this visit. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nava?
Yeah, Michael, sorry about that playoff game, huh? It wasn't great. The outcome wasn't good, but the most important thing is that those youngsters learned a good deal. Plus, they made it to the playoffs. Not very many schools do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you both of our student reps for 2 excellent reports. Glad you can make it here tonight. All right, comments from employee groups. Have any or employee groups who would like to address this tonight? Hi, Michelle. Welcome.
Good evening, President Freitas, members of the board, Dr. Washer. We do have much to celebrate and shout out tonight. With lots of hard work, we are excited at the passage of Proposition 55, 51, and Measure U. I want to thank Mr. Womack personally for those years of coming to Read Across America in my classroom and reading to my young little Seuss readers. They always enjoyed reading to them, so thank you for that. I want to give a shout out and congratulate one of our members, Lori Solis. She has become a nationally board certified teacher. Through a lot of hard work and refining best practices, it is a daunting task to reach that certification. Congratulations, Lori, and we look forward to her and the ILC members offering PD in our near future. I'd like to talk about the election this year, which I think is just one example of the public seeing and wanting you to place importance on the best education for our students, that our community wants excellent schools, lower class sizes, no teacher layoffs, programs that focus on both college and career readiness, and that schools and classrooms are safe, secure, and modern. When you authorize the LCAP, you must make decisions on how to spend that money you are given for today's students. We understand holding money in case of downturns in the economy, but you are holding monies over what the state suggests. And by your projected unrestricted reserves, we estimate there will be a $4 million increase at the end of the year. We don't believe you're a bank. The state intends that money to be spent on today's students. We feel it should be spent on today's students. Why do we need to put extra monies aside for textbook adoptions, for example, when we are not adopting this year? We ask you to get together and really take a hard look at what the priorities in the LCAP are, what you have stated in several areas to attract and retain highly qualified teachers. Here are some suggestions we believe that you could make that could dramatically influence problems that we see and the change. Fund PAR. We had some of the best language in the state. Other school districts modeled their PAR program from years ago after us. We know if we want to keep teachers that are highly qualified and keep our interns and pre-interns, we must look for a support system. PAR is that great model. We know that our coaches have a role in the district, but that role is stretched, and we have other things that could bridge this gap. We hope that those teachers can guide new teachers in those areas who need assistance towards a more successful tenure in LUSD. We also would like to see bringing equity to prep time in elementary. Additional demands have been made on our primary teachers. New curriculum has brought many more time demands that as to someone personally who looked at the adoption, was not clear at the time. For example, additional checklists to input alone take a great deal of time for those teachers. Let's help and not hinder this process. At the same time, you would also be providing students with prep teachers who have more tools and expertise to teach music and PE, and meeting the minutes closer to what is mandated. God forbid that I had to teach music because my students would detrimentally suffer. Next, we find it a bit disrespectful to offer 2% of the salary and tying it to the 1% of that waiving the grade span adjustment. We cannot agree to get rid of class size restrictions. We find this language insulting. This year's teachers' health care in some plans went up as much as 15%. How can we keep teachers if they can't afford health care for themselves and their families? We must look at the cost of living in this area, housing, daycare. In order to have local teachers here, they need to have salary and benefits that they can afford to stay here. Those are a few examples of ways that we can influence and rewrite parts of the LCAP to really influence the recruit and retain of good teachers. What doesn't cost money? Again, I'm here to speak to you about common planning time. Years ago, we worked together, the board, admin, teachers, we all saw the benefit of collaboration time. Today, when you ask a teacher about common planning time, you hear words such as meaningless, waste of time, don't give me busy work. They don't respect my job. They're not valuing collaboration. We adjusted the daily schedule to make each day longer in order for teachers to have this collaboration time. We know this is meaningful and powerful in the trenches daily in our classrooms. Unfortunately, what we see is a misinterpretation of common planning. Please meet us at the table and let's clarify the language if we need to. In the last 2 years, we have never heard such complaints and frustration. This is not a themed topic day. Each grade level has different needs. A grade level should not be told you can't collaborate about science, for example, because no other grades want to talk about science. Everyone else wants to talk about aspects of ELA, so you'll have to do science on your own. That's not the meaning of collaboration time and common planning. Teachers are sitting and listening to presenters. This isn't the flexible schedule of turning in an idea and then having to listen to an outside source during the entire afternoon. Agendas sent in, let's be flexible. If they need to change it, they let their admin know. If an admin wants to know what's going on, have those sites, those teams, those grade levels submit what it is that they talked about. Let them talk about what it is they debriefed. Don't call them back to report back, debrief in a small group, and debrief in a large group. We feel like this is just another faculty meeting. That's what's happening on common planning. When did we start not treating teachers as the professionals to hone their skills? Collaboration on new curriculum, new standards, and GSS is coming up. We have a new report card, new grading system, new assessments. District-wide new one-to-one devices. This to us is an easy fix. Teachers dismiss their students. They decide sometime during the week or the month that their grade level wants to meet on a specific topic. They send that in, such as a section of their ELA and a lesson. Let them discuss, let them get together, talk about the next lessons, hone their skills, talk what could be differently in the next set of lessons. If the administrator wants to know what they talked about, those teachers, I'm sure, would be happy to give them a brief debrief. We welcome admin to stop by those meetings and listen to the collaboration if they want, but we respectfully ask that if admin needs reports or questions answered, that she does it that during a staff meeting or during after school on a Wednesday. Mr. Neely, Mr. Heberly, we have heard your support to this issue. I know we can bargain this, but maybe tonight we can get you and the board to look and discuss and how to change the language or directive to clear up any misunderstanding of future common planning days. We have one this week. Let's work on PD and appropriate times where all members can attend. Again, we've heard about the shortage of subs and teachers being called back. Again, let's look at the pay for subs. If it's not working for us in Lodi Unified because they get paid to go to Lincoln, let's be competitive, just like we did with the lifeguard. Student teachers and paras should not be subbing in a classroom when a teacher is out. You have many teachers tonight here in the audience looking at you at the helm of the ship. We believe it is up to you to set the direction we go. Do you want LUSD to be the education destination? Do you want to give every student the best education? We believe that you can begin to recruit and retain with competitive salaries and benefits. Respect them as professionals. Give them opportunities for choices in PD, resources to help those who are new or not yet in BITSA or TIP. I know of many teachers who go above and beyond each day. It has been harder and harder for some as they now must work multiple jobs just to make ends meet. Our outlook since elections does look promising to us. So let's do right by our students and our teachers. I look forward and invite invitations to meet and discuss with you any of these issues in details at any time. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Michelle. Deborah, how are you?
Great. Great day for learning in Lodi Unified. Good evening, President Freitas, members of the board, and Superintendent Washer. I'm Deborah Ladwig, the President of CSEA Lodi, Chapter 77, and I'm here tonight to give you a little information from the front regarding custodial and maintenance staffing. When the state of California suffered a severe economic downturn and school districts were faced with implementing drastic cuts to maintain minimal services to the students and community, Lodi Unified responded by eliminating 26 full-time equivalent custodians. They also eliminated 4 full-time equivalent utility workers and 6 maintenance 1 employees. These 38 positions represent about 72,000 man-hours of work per year. Spread out over our 53 sites, that equals a little over 1,300 hours per year, or about 5.5 hours a day. 1 FTE equals about 2,000 hours. So you can see that the cuts to each site were above 1/2 of an FTE. That's just on an average, because in order that no site should be without services, the hours were decreased proportionately across the sites, which left at least 1 custodian at each site for 8 hours, although some sites' main custodian was only 7 hours. And then they scheduled additional hours as available. This was a less than satisfactory plan to keep our sites in good condition, but necessary given the extreme nature of the state's economy. We, CSEA, we understood. We know we needed to band together, keep things afloat until the economic future was brighter. Well, the economy began to rebound. Proposition 30 was approved by the voters so that our economic future seems strong. And most recently, Prop 55 has passed. So we now look forward to a brighter economic future for education here in California for at least another 12 years. While many of the most severe cuts of the recession have been restored, we've seen some class sizes which have been reduced, counselors have been increased, programs have been improved, we have our one-to-one technology. These are all things we should be proud of. But there are still areas that need to be addressed, and custodial and maintenance staffing is one of those. With the increased number of classes, counselors, programs, and supplies, there comes an increased need to care for the assets of the district. We are still working at the drastic cut level regarding our custodial and maintenance services. The utility workers who were released were each assigned to a comprehensive high school, and their job was to immediately take care of the maintenance items before they had to become a work order. They no longer are available to do that, so everything becomes a work order. The maintenance 1 workers who were eliminated spent most of their time making sure that the gutters were clean and that the filters for the HVAC were maintained and replaced. Now that we've cut them, we've had problems with water damage and air quality because there just isn't enough time with the available staff to keep up with all the work that needs to be done. The reduced custodians, about 26 of them, equal 52,000 annual work hours. They've been replaced with the custodial response team, 5 custodians working about 10,000 hours a year. So even if the CRT was able to work at full capacity every day, they're still only filling about 20% of the cuts. In addition, we still have custodians who are working at multiple sites to cobble together an 8-hour workday. These custodians travel between sites on their own time and at their own expense. The district does not provide mileage. So custodians working at 3 sites to get 8 hours per day are actually expected to be actively engaged in work for a minimum of 8.5 hours. Their schedules are set so that they have 15 minutes to travel between sites. Also, the problem with these types of arrangements is that no school wants to give up their rest period. So they're not only working 8 hours with no breaks, except for their travel between sites, which is unpaid, so they're traveling on their own money. They don't get their rest periods. I've been told that CSEA agreed to this custodial configuration to help make 8 hours of work available to our custodians who were bumped out of their positions when the layoffs occurred during our severe financial hardship. Well, there is no written agreement. We've passed that time. We no longer have custodians or maintenance workers on the reemployment list from layoffs. we believe it's time to hire more custodians and maintenance workers and get the staffing back to where it was before the drastic cuts of the most recent recession. I want to congratulate Lodi Unified for passing Measure U, which will provide funding for facility improvements and repairs, and also to us, the state of California, for passing Proposition 51, which could turn our Measure U into a double U because we'll get matching funds. So I think we need to carefully consider the need for appropriate custodial and maintenance staffing to maintain our facilities so that our community can realize the full potential of their additional tax dollars. CSEA Lodi Chapter 77 is advocating that the board completely restore these positions for proper care and maintenance of the Lodi USD facilities to ensure the health and safety of our students, employees, and our community. Thank you.
My name's Kyle Harvey. I'm with California School Employees Association, and I act as an advisor to the local chapter. Good evening, President Freitas and Board of Trustees and Superintendent Warsher and all of these wonderful people out here. I just wanted to kind of give you an example of the effects of not restoring these positions. I recently, and have for the past 2 years, gone out to a great school out in Lockford, a great country school. And what I understand is it came about that during the recession, there was custodial services that were cut. They lost about a full-time custodian out there. Well, since that happened, Clements School was closed and those services were transferred down to Lockford. And we have what you would call, I guess, a K-8. Is that correct? Out in the country there. And so what we have now is a school site that has doubled in size, nearly doubled in student population, and yet we're still at the cuts that were provided, during the recessionary time. This causes tremendous tension between the teachers, the administration, and the maintenance staff, and it's not right. I think we can all agree that that is something it's kind of a large example, but that is an example that you can go across the board, not only in custodial and maintenance, but also in clerical. We have many clerical folks that are struggling to complete their work. And a lot of this is due to all of the new regulations and the new systems that are put in place by well-meaning administrators, trying to get the job done. So I would ask you to consider those clerical cuts that were taken, look at restoring some of those positions. It really needs to be done. And in the end, I want to just kind of tell you that I would like to be communicating this in meetings with your local control action plan folks. However, I've been asked to not even attend them. That's a problem. And we don't have meaningful exchanges where we can bring suggestions to your staff so that they can provide that information to you. That's how the LCAP is supposed to work, and it's not working. It's not working for us as far as being able to collaborate with you as is intended in those new education code requirements. The last thing that I would like to do is spend time sending letters out demanding that these procedures happen the way they're supposed to. I would like to receive an invitation with no limit on how many representatives that we can bring to a meeting with your LCAP representatives so that we can have meaningful engagement. I request that tonight on behalf of our chapter. Thank you very much. Good night.
Deborah, Kyle, thank you very much for coming forward. Thank you for your comments. John, I see you hiding in the back row.
I'm going to reserve my comments after the LCAP report.
Very good. Thank you, John. All right. Comments from board members. Board members wish to make comments. Mr. Neely?
Thank you, Mr. Freitas. I want to start out by thanking you for all the work you put in on Measure U. A lot of people don't realize how much work Mr. Freitas did. And not only that, but badgered and pushed us to do extra work on it as well. I found myself cold calling corporations to get them to donate money, something that I hadn't done since I left GE.
Yes.
I tell you, so you got me to do it again, and that's one of the reasons I left GE. But you did a fantastic job, and proof is in the pudding. Thank you very much. And Dr. Washer, as well, same thing. You did a fantastic job. It was a group effort. So the committee, kudos to everyone on there. I'm gonna say this now while the teachers are here, and I'm gonna bring it up again in a little bit. But I would like to see a future board discussion. You have to take the notes now because I'm gonna talk about them. I want to see a future board meeting on this common planning time. And Michelle, I would like you to be part of that as well, because obviously there's a disconnect here. And so we've got to fix that. It's just not that hard. It's easy to fix. Let's fix it. So I'll bring that up again, but I wanted to say that while everyone's here so they know that we're listening to that. I'm kind of thinking I'll probably ask the same thing for the custodial staff. But apparently, I don't know, it just seems that our, what sounded like a great idea, and a lot of things sound like a great idea, but they just don't work out. You know, and maybe this custodial response team falls into that. It sounds like it was a great idea. But it just doesn't seem to be working. So that may be one of those things we need to revisit. Sometimes you got to scrap stuff and move on. Subs and teacher shortage, I just want to say, guys, everybody is experiencing that. It's everywhere. Everyone I talk to on other boards are experiencing the same thing. One of the things that we're trying to do about it, well, Dr. Washer talked about it about using our part-time subs, part-time positions differently. But we are working on it. We are concerned about it. Okay. Just one thing real quickly. I know this is California, it's a touchy-feely state and all that kind of thing, but this actually came from Boston. And they've actually had some really, I guess that's a touchy-feely place though too, but they've had some great success with substituting meditation for detention. And it's an interesting idea. They're teaching kids about doing meditation with deep breathing and how that helps calm down. Because when kids get mad, or when any of us get mad, blood vessels constrict and we get angry and that kind of meditation. When you breathe deeply, helps relax that. And so they've been seeing some really good results from that. And I've got a couple of websites, articles I'll send you on that. But let you know I'm out there reading this stuff. Okay. That's all I got.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Neiman. Mr. Everly.
Thank you, Mr. Freitas. First of all, students, thank you very much for your reports. It's always refreshing to hear what's going on the campuses. Great job. Thank you. Also, Van Ha, your recognition, well-deserved. Thank you so much for your time and your work. But I also wanted to, not to belittle that in any way, I wanted to just bring acknowledgement to the fact that there are so many teachers within our school district that do the above and beyond stuff, whether it's math competitions, spelling bees, clubs, advisors, speech and debate we even heard of from tonight. All of those kinds of competitions and those kinds of things that give our students additional experiences that you do for us and for them daily and volunteer for it is acknowledged and appreciated. Thank you so much for that. It definitely makes a difference for our students. And again, it was mentioned several times, you know, the public came through Prop 55, Prop 51, Measure U. I mean, wow, this is truly an exciting opportunity for us to make some serious differences in our facilities. And it's not just out with the old portables and with the new classroom. It's the type of classrooms that we're going to be able to do. You know, STEM is coming on full steam. Sorry. And I mean, I really believe in that. If anybody knows anything about me, that truly is giving the kids the base knowledge and then letting them actually create with it just hits home the different opportunities that they could have. So that's great. And to your point, Mr. Hurley, that is true about the facilities, that they are a thing that should make it easier for the people to do the job. And it doesn't matter whatever business, agency, or group you're with, you will stand or fall on your people that you have. Very well taken. I remember when in my profession, I was promoted to a first-line supervisor position. My dad said, well, congratulations. Take care of your people. I mean, it was, oh, thanks. You know, and it was true. You have to take care of your people. Thanks for those comments. I kind of have scribbles all over the place. I'm going to try to get it all here. Sub shortage and professional development. You know, like George said, you know, that's something that's shared everywhere is the teacher shortage and the sub shortages. But when we compound it by having continual professional development during the day where we take teachers away from their students, first of all, I don't really like that. I think the teachers have a place in the classroom with their students. That's where it happens. Then it gets compounded when they're scheduled for a mandatory training and the kids, there's no sub. So one of two things happen. The teacher gets called back to the school, or worse yet, the kids get scattered to a bunch of other classes that raises the class sizes. It could even be a different grade level. And I'm sorry, learning is just totally short-circuited at that point. So I would really like to find a happy medium between professional development during school time and after school time, or during, you know, before the school year starts, that kind of thing. And of course, common planning. You're right. There is a disconnect. There's a communication problem. I think that's a easily solvable thing. So let's do it and just solve it and immortalize it in writing so everybody understands what it is. We can move on. And the custodial positions, I think the point was well made. And that's why I brought it up, you know, a couple of meetings ago about the cleanliness and maintenance of our facilities, because it is definitely a health and safety concern. And it's not just the number of positions, it's also the number of hours that have been cut. So it's in addition to the positions that are lost. So, and I know that I had asked for that to be on the future agenda, and I know it's going to be scheduled soon. So, you know, we'll discuss that more at that time. And also I'll have more to say about some of these during the LCAP discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Everly. Other comments from board members? Ms. Castle?
Yes, just really quickly, I did want to thank the community. I'm sure many of you for supporting Measure U and having faith in us, and that we can improve our facilities with your help. So thank you for that. And I did want to recognize Ron Freitas, Kathy Washer. I know that there was support for many others, obviously, but thanks for taking the lead. It was a lot of work that I know and lots of hours that you put into, and it paid off indeed. So thank you for that. I wanted to recognize Lily because I did attend your Block L ceremony at Lodi High, and I love the fact that I think almost all of our high schools now award block letters for athletics, as we've always done, but also for academics. And so I was very happy. Lily was one of the seniors, multiple years, correct? Yes, obviously. And Michael, I'm betting that on Thursday for McNair's Academic Awards, you will be front and center. as well, I'm sure. Yeah, congratulations to both of you for being such great students and student leaders. And Sutherland, and I just want to say a few more comments about the Sutherland holding the flag ceremony. It was so well done. That is it's heartwarming. It really is. The kids were so invested in that ceremony. Their hearts were in it. It was fun to watch. They had the glitch that we all, us educators and staff in schools have experienced, and that's when the PA system goes out. But no problem, the show went ahead. The kids could sing a cappella just fine. And so it's a very, very rewarding ceremony to have attended. And then I too want to say a brief comment about the custodian issue. I think it is on a future board agenda, Dr. Washer. Yeah, so we need to talk that through and hear more about that. And then I do also, I would like to lend my support to having a dialogue at a board meeting or maybe a study session, I don't know which would work better, on the common planning issue. I believe that there is a compromise waiting to happen there, and it would be very good to talk it through. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Castle. Other comments from board members? Mr. Womack.
I spoke earlier, and I just have a couple more things I want to say. Mr. Freitas, your next board meeting, you'll be outgoing board president. And so I won't be here. So I want to just tell you right now, I think that you've shown a tremendous amount of leadership as a great president of the board. And then to follow that up with Measure L leadership as well, I commend you for that. Measure U. I think
that too. Both
that one too.
I think really good.
And the student reps, thank you. It's one of the highlights to me, I think, is when the students come in here and we get not just the reports, but sometimes we're having an issue going on, we're discussing, we ask for the input from the students, and it really is important to get it from your perspective. As I mentioned before, thanks to the board, it's been a pleasure. Dr. Washer, sometimes all that you do in your cabinet gets overlooked because there's so much else going, but I think that you're a tremendous leader in this district, and I appreciate that, and all the staff and people that work with you. Van Hoff, congratulations again. Reading is near and dear to my heart, as you know, too, and I commend you for that. And to the teachers, I just want to say that I think we have some excellent teachers who can teach lessons and what have you, but what else you do and what else you bring that's so important is I hope you never underestimate the value of the compassion and the love you give those kids. Because regardless of what the lessons are, I told this story before that I was thinking about dropping out of school in the 11th grade, 10th grade. And it was a teacher who came up and encouraged me and just put a hand on my shoulder and said, "You're smarter than you think you are." And gave me some leadership, and I followed what he said, and I was able to improve and pass and graduate from high school. I probably wouldn't have otherwise. But it's the kindness and the understanding that goes along with what you teach. Never underestimate that. You have a really important role in that. And I appreciate you for that. Joe, thank you for carpooling. We talked about a lot of things about kids and intervention and prevention and what have you. And I think that the unique thing about Joe is all that coaching experience. Because as a coach, and I know John Hunt and others that have been coached know that while you're coaching kids, you're mentoring them at the same time, and you really make a difference in their life. So Joe, it's been a pleasure. I don't know how, if I can help pay gas for you going to drive both times now, something like that. And then I've lived vicariously golfing as well once in a while, because I don't golf, but I hear about it. So thank you very much for that.
Very good.
Mr. Freitas, I just want to mention, of course, everybody mentioned it's going to be redundant for me to go get Measure U and all that because you were the leader on it. But I do want to mention the M&O, Warren Sun and Vicki Braun, which did a great job for us, and they did the actually manual work that needed to be done in posting signs and letting all the public know that Measure U is for you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shava. I would echo all the board's comments here tonight and the comments that we heard. I don't know what anybody was thinking making me the campaign president, considering I never ran a campaign before. But we did all right, all things considered. To be told that this was absolutely a no-go in Lodi, that it was dead in the water, and then to pass it with 7% cushion was absolutely amazing. And there's a whole bunch of credit to be handed out here. And thank you for acknowledging me, but the fact of the matter is, first off, the product the district gave me was absolutely first rate to sell. And our history, our work product, the facility master plan, people said that we stepped into their offices and they had never seen anything like that before. And they were absolutely blown away. The campaign committee that we had, all of which the board participated on, Dr. Washer, Mr. Hearn, LynnAdy, this, you know, I got to tell you, there were some very highs and there were some very lows. And, you know, when we had a pizza party that Warren's son and I were the only two people I had in my family, it was, you know, we were thinking, oh my goodness, how are we gonna get 30,000 votes? And but thanks to the committee that pulled there. The officers were absolutely spectacular. The co-chairmans, Warren's son, Vicki Braun, of the campaign committee, I can't say enough of what they did. The meetings that they set up, the workout, I mean, Warren spoke to every single one of our PTA organizations, and you know, their dedication really was inspirational to us. Our community, thank you very, very much. If you voted for us, we aren't going to let you down. And you voted against us, we understand what you're coming from. You know, none of us got in politics to raise people's taxes, and we're going to be very diligent about every single dime we spend, and to be very careful about this. And at the end of the day, you know, it wasn't us that won, it's our kids that won, and that's why it was very easy to do, because they went. And we had a TV commercial. Who even knew that we could actually put on a TV commercial that ran both with Lodi and Stockton? And we had done that with the guidance of our campaign consultants, Steve Reed and Lee Neves. You know, came out of the blue. You know, 3 months ago, we didn't have an endorsement, we didn't have a committee, we didn't have a dime, and we didn't have a plan. And to win with 63% of the vote and be the only local measure that passed was really talking about everyone's dedication. And I'm very excited about where this can go. I think this is something we're going to see the benefits from for a very, very long time. So thank you very much. And I can't wait for this to happen. Mr. Womack. We have 2 report items on today. We have proposed board policy revisions. Dr. Washer.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. This is the time when we bring you technical and legal revisions to board policies. There are quite a few. We're not asking for any action tonight, just to look them over before the next meeting when we bring them back for action. If you have any questions between now and then, we'd be happy to answer them for you. We do use CSBA as a guide. They put out model policies and keep us informed of any changes that need to be made based on new laws. So that is the foundation for what we use.
Very good. Comments from the board? Comments from the public? All right, Dr. Washer, we look forward to seeing this as a future action item. LCAP update. Ms. Katowski. Hopefully we're going to get to look at all 65 slides of the PowerPoint.
I don't think so, but it's really up to you if you'd like to.
Well, you know, this is Mr. Womack's last meeting, so we should make sure that it goes extra late so he misses us extra much.
thinned out crowd is no reflection on the power.
My feelings got hurt.
You don't mind, I will stay.
Ms. Kotowski, it's okay if I release our student representatives. They have a lot of studying to do, and they promised me they got big tests on Friday that, they got to get to those good schools, so. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, students.
Okay. President Freitas, members of the board, and Dr. Washer, before Ms. Fierro and I begin, I'd also like to echo all of the comments that have been said tonight about Mr. Womack. Thank you for all the time that you served with us. You will be missed greatly from the board.
Thank you.
So just so that you know, it is not our intent to go through every single slide. It is long. We will, if that's what the board wishes, if they'd like to hear about every slide, we will do that. Okay. If not, you can just tell us which ones you want when we get to that part of the time. So Ms. Fierro and I will kind of bounce back and forth in our conversation so that you don't get tired of hearing my voice or her voice. And I'm going to let Josephine or Josie start.
President Freitas, members of the board, and Dr. Washer. So to begin, we would just like to go over some of the activities that we have done to get input to bring back to you. And it actually began back September 6th. We have met, we came to the board, we gave you the program evaluation, and then we continued meeting with the LCAP committee as well as the LCAP committee. We've met twice with them, once giving them the program evaluation and a second meeting to talk about what has been done with the actions and services for the past 2 years. We also had another meeting with the leadership of the district, the administrators, and we have met twice with each one of the bargaining units, once in September, once in October, to also give them the same information. And now we are here this evening to bring you up to speed on some of the information that we have been receiving. First of all, it's just a summary. There were very fruitful conversations that we had with each one of the unions, and what we put on these slides were the most prominent ideas that they wanted us to convey. There is more, but these were the ones that stood out. The CSEA, they're still short. We're still short as far as the library media assists go. You heard a little bit about the custodial roving team, that we are not back, we still are not back to where we would like to be, they would like to be prior to the budget reduction. There was a question about bilingual paraeducators when there is a mismatch of the language at the site, what is being done at that point. And another question came up about community liaisons. Are they for the school side or are they also to be part of the community liaison? So that was some of the ideas that CSEA brought up. LEA, they also brought up retain and recruit staff, and their primary question was how are we going to keep teachers in Lodi? Professional development also came up, the scheduling subs to cover the teachers and what happens when the teacher is called back and they miss the training. So that was a big concern. They also made the recommendation to eliminate the custodial response team. And as far as Common Core materials, LEA wanted to know if it would be possible to pilot the history and science, social science. We also met with LPPA, who also, we did not put it on the slide, but they also had concerns about recruit and retain, that it not just include teachers, that it include psychologists and counselors as well. They would like for the counselors to reach a 400 to 1
currently we have 525 to 1, so their caseload is higher than that 400. They're asking for us to consider bringing more counseling services in, more counselors in. And as far as the psychologists, we are currently 4 FTE short, and they would like to also put that forth that we also increase the psychologists. So those are some of the comments that we received when we met with the bargaining units. And our next steps are to come back in January. Between now and January, we will be conducting department evaluations regarding the 16-17 actions and services, what is being done currently. And we plan to bring that back to the board also in January, the latter part of January.
Very good, thank you, Joseph. Comments from the board?
Yes, sir.
Further comments for the report?
We have a couple more slides.
A
I would like
couple
to
more
have up. Is that possible?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's one of them that says questions. The guy has a question. Go ahead.
Okay. So we just want to bring you up to speed on some of the things that have been happening at the state board. The state board has approved the new rubrics that are quite colorful. We will be hearing much more of this starting in January. This is a matrix to help us see, demonstrate student performance, student growth. And what we will be measured on is our current status and our change for the last 3 years. The one thing that you want to remember is that blues and greens are good, orange and red is not, and that yellows mean we're just status quo, we're not moving up or down. So we would like to shoot for greens and blues. But we have more information on that coming in January.
This actually came from the State Board of Education.
And this was just currently approved.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hot off the presses.
Hot off the press. Also hot off the press. Next slide. Hot off the press is we have a brand new LCAP template. So this is version number 3. And there are some changes, some significant changes. One of them being that it will be a 3-year static plan. So we will not have to be doing the every year. Our years 1, 2, and 3 are moving. It'll be a static plan. We will have to do the annual update yearly, but actions and services, it will allow us time to put some things into place.
Do you want us to ask questions as we go along or save?
I think we're just finishing up, so I think we're going to go to board comments.
So I'm done with this piece. Go ahead.
Oh, it was just what I saw this about this static plan. It still raises a question. So we're saying it's 3 years, 3 years. There's no, year 3 becomes year 2, then year 2 becomes year 1.
Right, there's no more of that. It is going to be 3 years. So the next plan that we write will be 17, 18, 18, 19, and 19, 20. And that will stay in for those 3 years. That's what we will be using.
So then that's done, and then in 21 we do another 3 years.
Essentially, yes.
Okay. But revisions
We
will
will have
always.
annual updates.
Of course, yes.
Okay, so here's the next portion of our slide. And what we did is we took all of the actions and services for last year, 15, 16, and we grouped them into essentially 4 groups. You'll see 2 slides on personnel actions, our actions and services focusing on personnel and teachers, and the next one would be more teachers, CSEA, those types of things. Then we also have a slide on instructional media, our textbooks and instructional things, professional development, and school climate.
these next 4 or 5 slides represent the next 40 or so slides. You can see each one of the numbers there will reflect an LCAP goal and action and services. And then we have the goal and action and service and what actually was the budgeted expense for 15-16 last year. And what we're hoping is that you will look at those few slides and then tell us or ask us which ones you'd like to know more about, or we can go through each of the slides. It will take quite a bit of time, over 2 hours, because we have done this before with other groups. We're staying back there, so that's kind of what we thought we would do. If that is okay with you, Mr. Freitas, or you can tell us what you'd like us to do.
Very good. All right. Why don't we go to question and answers from the board? Board ready for that? Okay. Mr. Neely?
First of all, I want to make a comment that this is great. You guys obviously put a lot of work in on it. Thank you very much for that. I think we need a completely separate meeting to go over LCAP study session on it. And so I'd like to ask if that has been planned, when that's planned for. Look at you, Dr. Washer.
I'm sorry, I'm writing that down. We have future.
Yeah.
We do have future board meeting updates as we move on and discussions with board. If the board is interested in having a more in-depth conversation, study type session at this point in the process, we certainly will schedule that.
You know, I don't necessarily think it has to be at this point.
Okay.
But I'm thinking fairly early in the process. And I think we do need, it needs to be separate from all other
Yeah,
items.
we typically do, and I don't remember what month
We've been
we
doing
do.
it pretty late, I think, in April.
Late? Okay.
It was a little bit late.
Okay.
I agreed that earlier would be
Earlier?
better, and a separate meeting for that is.
I would
Okay.
like to see it the end of January personally.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Kind of work on it when you come back from break and things like that. We don't have much else to do, so that's.
Really not at all.
All right, I want to start off with just a quick question. Mr. Bill already made a statement that he was not allowed to come to the LCAP meetings, is that correct?
I will say that I sent out an invitation asking the president of each of the units to come and bring another representative with them. That is interpreted as he was not allowed to come. That's not what the intent was.
Okay,
One
so
other
it's more of a
representative.
communication issue. Could we get that information to him so that, I mean, it would seem to me to be okay. I mean, the more input we've got, the broader input we have, I think we're going to do a better job.
I kind of expected him to be there, so I was surprised when he wasn't there, to be honest.
Maybe he's just not feeling the love.
I maybe. I have lots of love to go around.
All right. And I'm going to save my comments on a lot of this stuff until the whole session, because there's so much here I've got questions about. And you guys, again, you've done a fantastic job of putting it together like this so that I will know which questions to ask. That's part of it.
We can
So-
even have you play with the colors of the study session.
Well,
We
didn't
learned
want
how to do that.
you
How to
know.
do that.
We can do that.
That's really pretty all right. That's all I have to know.
Thank you, Mr. Neely. Other comments from the board?
Yes.
Mr. Everly?
Yeah, thank you. I totally concur, and I was going to say quite a bit the same thing George just said about a study session moving on, and that, you know, looking at this, it does take a while to kind of digest. You live with it, so it's kind of second nature for you. So I don't want to ask a bunch of questions here. Either I can meet with you and get those answered, holding this document in my hand, kind of thumb through it and do my highlights. So anyway, that's what I'd like to kind of do. Where in the process then would you be looking for board to kind of add into what our employee groups and citizen groups have added? When do we throw our stuff out there?
I would think that this is part of what we're giving you some information about what was added. your comments are back and forth to us, and at that study session, that would give us some direction of where the board would like to go. That gives us time to.
Yeah, I'm just thinking tonight's too early.
Yeah, and there's way too much to digest.
Yes. Okay, perfect.
We're fine with that.
I think that gives us a good direction, and I would agree that late January might be a nice time.
And we still have a couple of meetings with a couple of our representatives. We weren't able to have our actual 2 meetings with them because of, things happen, life happens. And so we still have gathering some information from some of our other groups. I think we have to meet with LPPA again and LESDA and things like that. So we're still gathering more comments. We, as representatives, we do not comment back to those meetings. We just take their comments and write them down, and that you have those notes that we shared there as what was shared at those meetings.
2 real quick things. One, when I saw the CSEA, that is such a, wow, diverse jobs group. Yes. So then you get one for maintenance, one for food service, one for, I mean, how do you do that? Or do they funnel it through Deborah and then Deborah?
We asked to meet with Deborah and another representative, so it would come through Deborah.
That would be incumbent on them. Okay, very good. And the second one was the public input from the public committee meetings.
Yes.
I did not see it though.
Yes, because we had our DLAC meeting on Wednesday night. This board item had to be prepared and ready to go Wednesday afternoon. So that will be part of our next sharing of our information. We had a DLAC meeting. We had a DAC meeting for the LCAP. It was didn't have a great attendance, so we rescheduled another one for next Monday. And those invitations have gone out so that we can get greater input from that. So we just didn't have time to get them attached to this agenda.
What was your
For our EL committee, we had like 40 parents here. For our DAC, we had 3, and most of them were, all of them were district representatives.
Lisa, would it be difficult to get a hard copy on this before our next study session, so I can highlight a lot of the stuff?
No problem.
Appreciate that.
Other comments from the board? Comment of Ms. Castle?
I just have to say thank you, Josie, and thank you, Lisa. Are the newest revisions, is this going to make it better? Or are you kind of that yet?
We're not quite sure. The template looks positive. It would be easier to explain to everyone because the way this one is designed, so the template looks positive. We will see as we go through the process.
And blocking it into 3 years, would that make it easier in terms of all the time you have to spend?
Yes.
It's less confusing to explain.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes. Thank you.
Other comments from the board? Comments from the public? Mr. Hunt? Thank you for waiting patiently. Please talk for a long, long time.
Thank you. I don't know how long my throat's gonna hold on, so. But I appreciate you listening to me. I felt after it was pointed out that LCAP matters, as far as comments earlier, that, I felt my comments all specifically deal with LCAP, so it's best waiting till this point. But I did want to congratulate the board, and I wanted to congratulate Ron on the victory. That was kind of a fun election to watch. A lot of exciting stuff and a lot of activities that week. My wife didn't make too many dinners because I was running around doing other stuff, but it was very exciting. And I'd like to congratulate Ralph for a job well done. Every race, it's nice to finish the race knowing you ran the race to your best ability. So good job, and I'm sure you're off to other races, and that's awesome.
Always talking track, right?
Yeah, well, so anyway, there's 3 quick points I wanted to make, and they all kind of relate to what we talked about with Lisa. But first of all, I'd like to thank Lisa. She was very gracious. I was one of those cases where something came up, and I stood her up, and I owe her Big Mac or something, maybe a McRib, I hear that. But anyway, we did meet our second meeting, and I felt like she really heard what LPPA was getting at. So the 3 points I want to make, the first one is whenever I hear comments about retaining, recruiting, hiring, maintaining highly qualified teachers, I'm always waiting. Teachers. And I love teachers. I'm married to one, two are in my family. I am a teacher. If I got my counseling position cut, I'd go back to social science. It's okay. They still let me do Saturday school. I mean, I teach, I could do summer school. So I love teachers, but I'm always waiting, teachers. And then I want to hear and support staff, because that and support staff, although teachers, I mean, every time they're talking ratios and everything, I'm 100% in their court, because I know exactly where they're coming from, and I work with them every day. I see how frustrating that job is, and all the issues they bring up are phenomenal. But that support staff piece, in my opinion, if you look through this and you see funds spent, I think it has to be remembered that we're trying to recruit professionals working with our kids. And when we try to recruit and retain and maintain, that goes across all three units. So I want to make sure everybody kind of remembers that. In a few weeks, in negotiations, Mike McKilligan and LPPA agreed there would be a meeting to look at our psychologists. We have enough psychology, well, we don't really have enough psychology FTEs, but we can't fill 4 of them that we have, because psychologists are quick to bolt to other places and not be, returned and retained. So in the LCAP proposal, I think on page 36 of this document, there's even a suggestion to add 2 additional FTEs so that our ratios and psychologists are up to speed. So one of the 3 things that LPPA really would like to see, I mentioned as far as that 1.1, just remembering that support staff along with teachers, that those are, we're trying to recruit and retain employees and professionals across the district. Number 2 would simply be what I just mentioned. As far as basically the psychologist positions, the 4 that are currently unfilled, we're looking at ways to attract psychologists to Lodi Unified, and then potentially to add 2 of them on page 36. Jonathan Martin is really doing a lot of work to bring that group up to speed. Then the third point I want to make is dear to my heart. When I left teaching and became a counselor in Lodi Unified ages ago, I got an LPPA contract, and my favorite part of the contract has to do with ratios, but I understand it doesn't mean anything, but it's still in there. It says the goal of the employees is to change the people ratio from middle and high school counselors to 1 to 400 with a maximum of 1 to 450 per counselor. And then it goes on in the second sentence to say this will be accomplished by hiring counselors as needed for each affected school. So earlier it was mentioned that counselors were replaced. Well, we were at 58, we're up to 40 again, we're still considerably short. So I know up until 2008, anytime Tokay was at 2,600 and we had 6 counselors, when we went down to 2,000, the counselor moved, to another school that was opening or something. And we've always kind of had that ratio. It hasn't drifted closer to 400 as much. It's been closer to 425, 430. But that's always been the way of life in counseling up till 2008. In 2008, the dark days came, and I'm just excited. I mean, this is a great time to be in education, in my opinion, because there's a lot of things going on and a lot of funding, and I know a lot of groups are trying to get back to a point where they feel like they can be efficient. Listen, we all want to do a good job. If I'm a car mechanic and I can take care of 50 cars a day, but I, for some reason, got 100, I'm not going to be doing very good, and that's going to, it's going to grind on me. I'm either going to stay there all night, or I'm going to have to cut my, car load back. We've got to do a better job, and I think we're to a point now where we can start seeing some of the relief. So 3 things in LCAP. Don't forget 1.1 for support staff. 2, the counselors, 1 to 400, 1 to 450. And 3, the psychologists. We need the 4 positions filled, and we've got to create an enticing environment for those people. And I'm sorry it's late, and thank you very much for listening.
No worries. No worries at all. Thank you very much, John. Michelle?
First, I'd like to also
I guess, admitting to the rescheduling and owing Lisa and Josie a couple of things. Water polo got in my way. And they were very accommodating at changing those meetings. I do have to say that they, as new LEA president, going through the process and line by line questions that I did have and made notes on every page, were very accommodating in answering those questions. The one thing that stands out in my mind, knowing what we went through last year, I think was brought up just a bit, was the parent component. The community component. We had such a struggle last year to get input. We talked about, at some sites, the short notice for those community forums, and the draw wasn't there because of that. I think, if my understanding is correct, that the committees, the people on those committees that are formed are the only ones that are getting invitations going forward. I would hope that we kind of look at that and give the opportunity to our community and our parents to come out again, to have another look as we revise this each year, and not just have it closed to just a committee that was formed the first year that we had such a hard time filling. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Other comments from the public? Further comments from the board? Ms. Kotowski, Ms. Fierro, thank you very much for your hard work on this. Very excited to see what's going to happen next, and keep us informed of how we can help out along the way.
Thank you.
Good, all right. Board advisory committee reports. Any board members have any committee reports?
Same question.
Yeah.
I believe at the last meeting, Mr. Neely asked about the possibility of another 2x2. Have we tried? I know it's difficult. Yeah. Well, when you have to get 2/3, that's bad. And one of them was 66.3%, and they needed 66.67%. It's like, oh man, that's rough. Anyway, just you mind. That's all. Whenever it can happen, probably the first of the year.
After January 7th,
Yeah. Right, and I think that's great. Because the holidays is not good time.
Very good. And future agenda items, we have a couple.
Yeah, I'd like to see common planning put on there.
Yes.
And introduction of LEA and our district office. And that meeting can be as simple as saying it's taken care of. If everybody agrees to that, and I'm happy.
Thank you, Ms. Neely. Other future agenda items, all right. Ms. Womack, you have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Ms. Grant, thank you.